There we go. I think we're lefty-loosey now, where we're supposed to be. So yeah, this time when we mix our JB well, we'll be very cautious where we're putting everything in. And I don't know if we can even tighten this ahead of time before the super glue dries, but we're gonna see if we're gonna force this guy back into his slot. There he is, right there. So the thread's correct. So this guy didn't have a problem here whatsoever. Other than a few scrapes here we can probably take off when we cloth it or something like that. So that's fine with a touch-up. We'll spray it on the, you know, some kind of maybe plastic saran wrap and dab these guys here for all these little script and scraps. We'll try to do a little light sand before we do that. So we'll see how far we can go. But the teeth's not damaged. We'll inspect that and make sure. It's got a little super glue. It's got a little Bonjo here too. So it's gonna have to fit perfectly back into that little groove there. So we're gonna, when we JB weld, we'll prepare everything to where we're gonna fit it back in. Now let's go and take this guy off and we'll see. See a little bit better the whole area. So we'll use this for the other side as well, because this one is already covered up. There's no hole going through it no more. It's just a light. Now we can see the area where it shouldn't have any of the fix-ups or mess up, you could say. So we could probably sand those areas off cleanly while we focus on patching the areas that does need that more. So yeah, so this needs to be patched. Well, you probably can't see it, but I'll get in closer for you. Okay, for the meantime, let's go ahead and patch this guy up as well. So we're gonna bond him back with super glue in here. You see here how much I think he might took off a little bit of his own face. You see there? I don't think it's being digged in here, so this is pretty darn clean. So let me go ahead and release this here. Okay, I released it now. Let's give it a little inspection. Oh, look at that. It's kind of squished it too much there. Oh boy. Yeah, these are still soft. Look at that. Well, let's see if I can show you. Once the bolts is broken out, he was here we go. Let me try to flex him back. There we go. Look at that. It's kind of bent in the oval shape now. So what I'm gonna do is try to push him back to his proper shape. Do it like a light aluminum, really. Almost there. We got him. There we go. Just staying on there for a second there, it kind of did that to us. Be really careful. We don't want to overdo it and smash them again. Not know our strength, right? There we go. Now it looks more like a perfect hexagon. This one, unfortunately, did kind of look like it's chewed up. Not sure which side this thread was on, but we could probably face this one inward now. It doesn't look like they're bi-directional anyway. But let me go and screw this on here just to make sure it screws back on. The hole is not damaged. So all I'll do is I'll face it this way. See, there we go. It'll thread in again, sorry. It'll thread in again. You can see here, but we just don't want to make sure it's damaged. Just make sure it comes out from the other end, okay? Just make sure all thread's still good. There it is, it's coming out. You can do it by hand still, which is nice. Almost there, it kind of locks up right there. Look, we'll find out if it's, let me spin it around a little bit. Kind of hold the grip to be able to spin it. I want to be able to get all the thread out. Have it fix this thread. There we go, it's coming out. I could have just left everything alone here, right? That's okay. We want to make sure we fix it properly, then have patchwork. But yeah, now it's all the way coming out, which is fine. Now we can turn it by hand. It should go even further in. All right, so the idea is to make sure this guy bolts on next time more smoother. But he needs to go back into that little slot there. So we'll prepare that little slot hole for him as well to go back in. Let's leave this guy on here right now for just to help hold and more support. And so let's go and put this guy here back in the area here for the rags. A few more things to look out for when we're doing our cosmetic changes. So let me go in here and show you what needs to be moved. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and re-thread to put them in here with some probably, I think my super glue might be our best bet once it gets hard in there. Or even, I'm afraid to use anything else than that because I'm afraid it might, you know, or maybe use some plastic epoxy. What do you think? Maybe this is what it's called for, to put plastic epoxy in here, because I'm not sure metal will actually keep it on there. Then we'll clamp it in. In the meantime, here it goes. See, I took it out. You can't tell there is any hole anymore. See there? There's no really hole. There's some bits of thing here. So that's where the teeth here settled in, and we're going to continue that legacy with the new one. So and then we'll tie strap this guy in here. We'll bundle him up. Let's do that now. Let's cut this old tie strap out. That should be, oh look, well, see there, some of the old JB weld, I guess when it crushed it kind of held it in place like that. So we'll sand it down, get an idea where we need to put our JB weld back. See, JB weld won't bond on the surface area that's not sanded down, so that's why it did what it did. But now we know where it should be. There's that teeth hole there. So our JB weld act like our clay sort of for us. But yep, so that's where it would be. We'll have to cover all the rest of them again. Just trying to see if I can pick them out. But it doesn't really need strength there. It just needs to make sure it stabilizes the teeth there. And this guy was supposed to be the one that actually grip it with this help of this guy right here. So let's go and give him some more support that he deserves. We'll go and get our small tie strap ready. We're going to use a black one this time. It matches too. Okay, be careful cutting this wire. Why is there's a hair here? Be careful cutting these wires because you're go close to the actual wire itself. So you can see here, I'm almost pulling it away from it. Too bad I don't have a good wire cutter, right? I'm bring the other one. Bring the big, huge garden hose one. This guy has no problem cutting at all once you get his teeth in there. There you go, look at that. He just snaps away. Okay. Oh, this actually goes in a loop also. Wow. There's a special loop for him. I thought it's just, there's a tie strap. Well, I think it's a tie strap loop. I'll show you. Second here once I get this guy off. See there? There's a loop that's from behind. There's a little tie strap loop. So hopefully I can do the same thing with this one. Put him through the loop. And I think this is what holds these guys in place. So I'm gonna feed him sort of in a tie. See there's a loop there? See that loop right there? Right there. I can put him through here, through there. All right. I'm gonna try to go the other way now. Yeah, so maybe all I'll have to do is unscrew all these little Phillip hole will take out the button. In fact, might be even a good time to give this guy a spray or something, right? Since all his buttons are Well, I hate to take off all the buttons because I'm sure I have to pull this guy here and there off too as well, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so let's see if I take it off and see what happens. Might create more work for myself now. But we gotta do it because we need that tie strap loop. I thought I was just gonna tie and have it hook on by sheer force, you know? See there's a little, sort of like a little 2-pin, and fortunately I think it's part of the housing, so I have to actually take it all off in order to get to it. So be careful, I don't want to break the solder joints here. So let me go ahead and get my sharper end of the screwdriver, the smaller one Phillips. See if I can get that launched out. Alright, let's do this one. I believe we can take this one off, this one off, this one off. Is there another one in between? Oh man, there's one more in right here too. I'm not sure how we can wedge this one back on. I have to almost remove some of the solder joints. Look at that right there. So this one comes out. Let's take the one nearest possible. That way we can space it out. Okay, here we go. I'm taking this one off. See what it's doing for us. Okay, it moves this guy off a little bit, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that interlock with these guys? Try and see if we take it off, if we can actually still get into our little area here. Maybe it'll help lift the pressure off of this thing where we can put our tie strap. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, I got him almost partially unscrewed. This one's like a clamp down for the wires. Get him loosened. He's loosened now. Okay, so I want to loosen him all the way. Yeah, I want to. Okay, let's kind of get a visual of what we're dealing with here. I don't see this guy coming loose anytime for us. So let me see if I can get like my little flat head. Give him a get better inspection. Little trusty flat gold one. Always been there for us. I guess. See here, this is one we're trying to get loosened so we can put the tie strap inside of him again. These guys are probably going to be hard to solder back. So I want to be careful not having to create more work than meets the eye. Oh. But tie strap did go in there before, so a new tie strap should allow us to go in there again. Oh, there he is. I'm able to lift a little bit, just a little bit, right? And I think it's still going to be a challenge. Oh, okay, let's go and screw this guy now. Okay, I'm not sure about this one yet. Or this guy's getting loose, and this guy can almost completely come off as well. But let me see what's happening here when I lift up. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. Much easier to feed the tie strap once I can see the other end. I have to almost loop it back in though, so that's still kind of tricky for me. So let's see if I could take it completely off. I believe this comes right off. Let me use the proper Phillips for it. Try and shortcut this. Oh wait, there's one more, isn't there? There's another one here maybe? Oh man, I hope not. Okay, look at that. There we go. Much more looser. So this guy right here takes it almost to the whole up level here. I think this is the only one that's really holding it back, really. Almost unlaunched this one. I think the rest should come off. In fact, this one might be just a holder. So let's go ahead and take this guy almost. I gotta be careful because I really gotta get that guy back in there too. Taking him off is one thing. Going against gravity, put it back on is a different story. There we go, look at that. Came right off. Well, most of it. Alright, so while we're doing that, we can inspect the buttons, see if there's any kind of other damage. I think this works on the switch, this horn. This is a horn switch and our turn signal. So there we go. I can feed them now. So this is all I need. So what we'll do is we'll put our tie strap feed here. Look at that, it goes from one end. You can see that? Goes one end. Then we'll need needle nose plier to give it almost a 360-degree turn, or U-turn, back to the other way. There we go. There we go. Sort of U-turn him. See there? Gotta let go. Pull him from here. I'll keep feeding him over so I can pull. There we go. I can feed much as I want now. There we go. New tie strap insertion to be able to fairly clamp this guy with it. Now let's go and put things back while they still are not too bad off the ground. Oh boy, boy, boy. When you fit them back, make sure you get them into their slots, so kind of soften them up. There we go. Push it down. Make sure it still clicks. Okay, we know this is used as a clamping tool. So this is probably the most critical one here that we need to bolt in first to get everything kind of squared away in there. So let's get this guy back in the groove. Yeah, I just don't want to shove the other guy back in yet until I can feel he might be able to create more plastic for himself. I don't know. I think super glue might just do it just right. If we can get super glue in there, it might not turn anymore. I don't think, see, the thing with this one is not adhesive. The thing with JB Weld is not adhesive. It's great for metal bonding, but it's not good for putting on plastic. It won't really do anything. It won't even work as a filler for us too well. So super glue will at least work as adhesive for us. So more than likely, either we can use the super glue or that plastic epoxy glue. But with the plastic epoxy glue, it's probably not going to do better for us because it's mainly going to bound plastic only. So our best chance will be our Gorilla super glue again, the original. So that way we know that it works a little bit for plastic, but also works for any other, you know, bonding. So let's go and get this guy, one guy right here. He's just in the woods now by himself. All right, let's get him back into position so we can, well, first of all, we got to tilt where we need to be able to angle him. I think he's, it's like, man, you took me out of my slot and you're forcing me to go back in. Yeah, we are. There we go, we got him. Got him back in. There we go. Nice drive in. We'll make sure he doesn't pinch any wires on his way in. Get this little light green, whatever switch wire this is. Let me just tug it out like that. Just get him out of the way with my Phillips as I'm screwing it. Alright, so we got that one there. Alright, so we got this one here. Okay, might as well, I'm going to tighten everything down. Knowing me, I like to make sure it's upright. Also double check, just make sure they're all tightened anyway. So I think got this one there, this one. There was only, I think, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, the clamp one. We got to put the clamp one there. I thought there was 4. So there we go, we'll get the clamp one on there now. And he's just to hold the wire down from going all over the place. So let's get him down in there. Did we get the green wire on there? So what happened there, but I guess the camera needed to take some time to cool off or something. But anyway, the charger's back on there. I think it's charging as we're going. And what I was going to say is I'm about to go ahead and pull this extra wire harness in here more. That way I can go ahead and focus on tie strapping it accordingly. You can see here, it can pull a little bit more. It's not going to put pressure on it. It's just going to take away from the other end of the, you know, sort of like, I guess, the wire insulator protector. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shove it in as much as I can in here. Till it can't go no more, because I really want to get more of a clean side cut from here. So then I'm going to go ahead and kind of lay this low here. And it does look like there's a slot for it, so it might not be the very thing that help bond it more, but I got a feeling it will help a lot. So there we go. Let me go ahead and, first of all, let me get the camera back into position. Kind of a nice clear shot day today. I'm going to twist this one leg here so it doesn't keep on binding. There we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this guy tie strap shortly here, but let's go and fit him in here. Make sure he fits comfortably. Does he need anything else before he goes to his final resting place? There we go. There's what was missing before. Now we're going to press this down and make sure no wires or nicks or bound or look like they might be forced. We can tug it out a little bit now just to help the wires relieve itself if there are still some wires that need to be accounted for. Okay, now that we think we got it there, we're going to go ahead and put the tie strap on and give it a good tightness. This tie strap will pretty much keep this insulator, as far as we know, in here. There we go. Let me see if I can get it a little more tighter. Can't pull it too much because it's still plastic on the bottom there, but I think we got him. There we go. All right, so now the insulator is in here now. So when we do give it a tug, it's going to be a little bit more stronger. Well, not that stronger. I'm tugging on this guy here. I got to be careful with his. He's not ready either. So we're going to clean this out a little bit. That way we prepare the surface for a little bit of our super glue to go in there. Take care of that guy. So let's go and cut the excessive tie strap tip. So we're almost like re-sewing this guy's thread in here. There we go. Nice cut there. Alright, so let's go and take something to shove and clean that guy here. A little shop rag or something. Prepare him, I believe, for insertion. Because we need to actually put this guy's bolt back in there. So you can see here, did a number. It might be maybe the blue Loctite maybe was causing it and pulling it. Maybe we should let go of the blue Loctite in this situation, because it's driving purely on plastic. It's not really a solid metal frame, so maybe there's no need for blue Loctite to go on these guys anymore, because it looks like it pulls it out with the whole metal thread, and that's not what we want. We want it to be able to pull out easily from it and just create a lock, but we don't want it to spin freely. I'm not sure what's happening, but my phone keeps on shutting off. Maybe because the weather is kind of warmer. I'm surprised. It's just like room temperature now, normal. So even though we're inside the shed and stuff, so I don't understand why the phone keeps turning off. Well, anyway, we'll try to do our best to keep recording as we're going to fix this. And what I'm going to do is go and clean this with a little bit of cloth and try to get all the debris out of there. So we'll stuff it a little bit here. Spray a little electrical, maybe some parts cleaner or brake cleaner. Get that out the way. See, I'm gonna hit it with a little brake cleaner just to get the little plastics particles out of the way, or anything in there. There we go. Just like that. A little spray. So it don't bound or anything like that. And should get a Q-tip or something, but this will work fine. Alright, so it's not maximizing my time limit of recording, but usually it tells me if I have a certain amount left on my storage, like you have like 30. Okay, I apologize. It looked like it's letting me record intermittently, so I'm not sure why, because it might have been overheating or anything like that. But anyway, what I did so far while I took it off recording for a second here, I just want to show you. I actually went over and unscrewed this guy, and I realized we do have another challenge, because in order for us to actually clamp this guy in though, we need to have his throttle cable, everything all set. And unfortunately, in order for us to make sure that we put the throttle cable in, it needs to be coming through this loop. So I think the first step would be to actually take this guy off, give him a proper glue, and maybe sand him a few areas down or nothing like that, or even just wait until both sides of the glue tied down first. So we might have to have like maybe a 48-hour waiting period, because the first thing we do is take him off, glue him, wait another day. Well, actually it only takes 20 minutes. We could probably start sanding it right away. So we could probably prep this guy up here for a paint job, and that way we can prepare this guy. We're going to drill him a little bit further down We're just going to drag it a little bit down, and then we're going to fill in the gap. In fact, let's see if we can actually have to drill him down, or we just kind of tilt him down, because we're just going to probably hit him with a drill bit. Let's see here. We just want to make sure we can move him down a little bit more. That's it, just a little bit more down. Let's see where his teeth actually locks in or not. You can see he has the same kind of setup here on his other end. See, he has a little tie strap too as well that held him in place. That's how they do it. This one never had that tightness, so it never had to pull like this guy here. And this guy's still really well in condition. I'm just sad about this little scrape paint, but we'll fix that later. We'll have some, you know, that really bother us. We'll get some enamel. So what we're gonna do is take him out now, because we need to take the throttle cable completely out. In order to take the pod out, we need to unlatch him here from this socket. So it's quite a bit of reversal, but we can still do it. Let's go ahead and grab our either a flat side or something to give a little bit more strength to push him through out. So what you want to do is, see there where the cable is? That's, he's coming from the other side. So you can't just pull him out, right? Because he's held in. So we're going to line that little slit where the cable would come out. But we're going to push this guy right here. This little ball bearing here. I'm going to try to do it so you guys can capture it. So yeah, this guy's almost done. We're going to go ahead and glue him. In fact, we could probably prepare to glue him now and see what happens. So let's get our super glue. Well, I didn't want to actually ruffle him anymore, so I want to do it actually all in, and then I get this plastic off first. So let me try to get the plastic off first. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping my decisions here, but there it goes. Hopefully it still records. I'm not sure why it stopped. Maybe it's showing too clear resolution or something. I don't know. But it's not has to do with storage. It has nothing to do with charging. It just has to do with a heating issue. Like one thing after another, isn't it? Never been properly fair with us. Okay, so here we go. Idea is get that little guy out of there. So let's see here, the throttle is fine. So I have to pull this guy inward and push this guy out. There we go. Oh, see? I almost let it zigzag and fall through right on it. So there we go. So see, the more we keep on messing with him, he's looks like he's about to wear out on this too. We'll clean this, give it another clean job, and we'll probably maybe put some little better lube or something like that. I know we use our fuel oil, but I think maybe some good better maybe bearing grease might even work better, huh? Put a little bit of that pink bearing grease in there on the throttle kit. I just hate for it to go all the way down to her. It's just everything slips little by little, right? So yeah, so this guy needs to feed himself out through here. That's why we took him off. So he takes a 14mm here as well. That way we can back them all up. So we do need our 14mm back. So yeah, we have to get this guy painted securely where we want him. Then we can start the mounting. Or, because if we mount him now, we'll have to take it back off in order to feed this cable in, I think. Because I think this thing needs to twirl inside of here. Because it doesn't just, like, you know, you can't just screw it with this guy. He actually twirls in there. He's the whole thread that needs to spin with this guy. And we can't spin this if it's mounted already onto our bar, right? So let's go ahead and remove this guy. 14mm. And I'm kind of losing my sense of direction here. I think this is lefty-loosey. So lefty-loosey pushing downward. Or that's righty-tighty clockwise. Okay, lefty-loosey pulling inward. So I'm trying to put him in an angle here where I can pull inward. There we go. Kind of like to break that nut there. Alright, so there we go. He's loose now. See a bunch of thread from him. So this is how you would take out your throttle cable. Pretty nice. See that? So you have to spin him off unless you spin this cable, but this side is tied already, so it's not like you can freely spin the cable. And this whole thing comes shooting out with it, though. I mean, it comes dropping off with it. See, almost there. It's almost good. Probably half an inch of the thread here for him, or even actually more like 3/4 of an inch. Pretty a lot of thread. But that's it. Now we can take this and actually paint it too. So we can probably maybe do all the painting work before we put it back in. So maybe, come on, he's almost there. He's hanging by the last bit of thread, I guess. Okay, see that? So this guy here, he's compacting in. He needs to probably fall in a certain slot. There you go. Now he's pulled out. Didn't want to come out originally. See there? This is like nylon here. That's why you don't really have to worry about too much having to lube it, but we want to see if we can just help it not wear so much on our plastic, so maybe a little lube might do us some good. Okay, so there we go, that's done. Now we can loop this guy out of there, and he's kind of like a, you know, kind of work his elbow a little bit out of there. Plastic wants to split, be careful. There we go. Now this guy will come out even though it looks like, but what you want to do is you want to loosen him off his bolt first, because the bolt is very tricky. See, there we go, I got the bolt out first, and then look like, because you cannot get this out of there because it's actually stiff like this, but when you loosen it, you have a little bit more slant, and that's why you can get out of the housing right here. See, we got him out of the housing, so that's it. Nothing else is holding him back from staying in there anymore, and we can properly super glue him a little bit more better. Since he's off, there's no more tightness or pressure, but we got a good reference point where he should be. So there we go, just pull him out straight or forward us. You can still grab on one bar. You might want to loop him then. There we go. Look at these guys, they're like, I miss you. Well, you weren't there for me when I was all apart. So there you go, we got him out now. We got him out in one piece, surprisingly. It looked like these things are just scratch, or not scratch, but there's just little scribble marks. But yeah, there we go. See that? The back part didn't really have that much of a strength to really go by. So we're going to hit that with super glue, and we're going to bound it like this. I think this will help us reinforce some more. We're going to sand it down. As we're sanding it, we're going to find out any more imperfection. But the first thing to do is just like, let's go and super glue this together. Do a little bit better here. Maybe we'll get a little sandpaper and just kind of sand it before we super glue it, huh? Just try to take off some of the old super glue if we needed to. So we got that out of the way. Let's go and bring this to our area here of inspection. We'll take a little bit more grit sandpaper here. It looks like it can do a little bit harsher. We could do 150 on it, and then we'll work on our 600 maybe toward a little bit toward the end of it. So all we need is a little piece, not even that much. See, right there. Just keep working a little bit. We could wet it a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. All right, so this guy and these guys are all its plate that we need to prepare for JB Weld probably tomorrow. We can't do it now because it's still, well, in fact here I'm going to start trying to see if I can sand the excessive JB Weld off of this guy. He doesn't have to have JB Weld everywhere. Just creates a uneven surface that we don't need. Then we'll clean it. In fact, we almost hit it with the spray paint too afterwards. We'll see how good we are. Just clean some of the old JB Weld off of it. But you can see where the indent is, where the new JB Weld would be, filling it in the rest. So we're going to reposition this. Now that the JB Weld's blocking this from further going through the other side of the bar, we can glop it with new JB Weld. It'll stay put for us. Get some of this gunk off of it. We'll put JB Weld first before we hit it with paint, and we'll sand it down before we hit it with paint. There we go. Let's get an idea a little bit better what we're really working with here. We'll spray this out with a little bit of carb cleaner, and then this part we'll drill a little bit lower, try to get a lower position, and then we'll have that that JB Weld substance on there. In fact, we could probably position it lower right now. Simple fact to try getting that drill bit. So let's get that drill bit back out. That gave us a problem before. Shouldn't give us any problem now. That is a pretty harsh grit sandpaper. I don't know about, I'll do a little bit maybe on the bottom and see how harsh that is before I'll start. Now we're dragging it loose, so we're depending on JB Weld to fill in the gaps for us. We don't need a center punch because we're working with the existing hole that we need just to try. So if you do have a situation where you want your bars to actually go from pointing, like if you want your mirror, let's say, see if I can find my mirror so I can really show you. So you have a situation where you're always constantly forcing your mirror to go back for you so you can actually see the road instead of it coming into this position or wiggling like this. Then what you want to do, let's say this was mounted like this sort of, right? Or whatever you have your actual mount. See where your hole is? You just want to probably drag the hole here where the teeth of the housing that we were trying to figure out. Those teeth of these housings will actually, when they move this, they'll move your whole mirror holder, which your mirror holder goes onto this guy right here on top. So when you move that, you'll move your whole mirror holding position. So that's what we're doing here. We're hoping, there's the mirror holding. We're hoping that when we move the teeth, it'll lock a little bit down for us so we can rearrange it just slightly a little bit. So we're just gonna take our little drill bit and kind of deepen going vertical, just slightly a little bit. So that's what we're planning to do right now. So where is our drill bit guy? Oh well, first of all, I gotta get this power drill. Let's get his proper. He's on this guy. We don't need to blow any dust off yet. That'll be the end. The great thing about Milwaukee is they share the same battery, or most power drills do. There we go. Drill bit. Just gonna drag it down slightly, not even a millimeter to be honest. It makes such a huge difference in where it's gonna land last. So let me put the charger on too. Hopefully the charger will help. So there we go. Brighten the whole area here. So let's get this drill bit. Okay, this is the size you want again. You want a 7/6 drill bit.